Good afternoon. I'm Monisa Cline here at the GBTA Broadcast Studio here in beautiful San Diego. And with me today is a longtime industry dear friend and colleague, Mr. Bob Summers, who is the Senior Vice President of Global Sales for Delta Airlines. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you, Monisa. Thanks for having me. It's great to be back in person with this crowd again. I love it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think the convention theme of reconnect, reimagine, and recreate is so appropriate, right?
Yeah.
Given what we've all been through.
It's nice to see people's faces not on a Zoom call, I can tell you that.
It is. So for customers that are just now starting to get back out on the road, first time post-pandemic, what can they expect from a customer experience standpoint? What's new as they return to the friendly skies?
Yeah, you know, it's, I think when we had this conversation in Orlando in November, it was a similar question, and a lot has changed in the industry, but the words resilient and reinvent continue to, I think in this industry, particularly certainly at Delta and the airline industry, where we've continued to focus on the customer experience and what are the things that, asking customers to answer that question for you. What are you looking for when you come back? So we spent the time really reinventing Delta, spending a lot of capital and resource, manpower, you know, simple things like, I'd say probably the most visible thing to travelers, depending on where they are, is going to be what we would call above the wing, where we have spent close to $12 billion in airport facilities in the last 6-7 years. And even since we met in November, we've since opened up a brand new terminal in Salt Lake City, a brand new customs immigration facility in Seattle, and arguably the two biggest airports in the world in terms of passenger employments. We now have opened two world-class, state-of-the-art airports in both LaGuardia and Los Angeles. And that all happened just in the last 6 months. So tremendous amount of focus. We were able to push all those things forward because of COVID. One of the very few things that were positives. Same thing I would say under the wing. If you're the customer experience, what can you expect when you get on the airplane? What we hope is, number one, you're going to expect operational reliability and timeliness. That's number one. No matter what, COVID or non-COVID, we pride ourselves on being the most punctual airline in the world, certainly in North America. So you can expect that, number one. Number two, I think we talk a good bit about things like Wi-Fi, streaming Wi-Fi. We now have Viasat on board, over 350 aircraft, the narrow body domestic aircraft. We started with them. I've been on 2 or 3 flights, and I've been on old go-go flights. So you can definitely tell the difference, and we'll be finished within probably this time next year with all of our aircraft. More efficient, more productive, and certainly streaming quicker. Seat back entertainment, that was a big thing that customers asked us to continue to push. We're the only airlines that were doing it for a while. Now everybody's doing it, so we have more seat back entertainment than anybody in the world. And then last but not least, just what can you do to upgrade your customer experience and your products and things like that. So I think that's that's the kind of the soft stuff. The heavy stuff is you'll see a lot of new airplanes. One of the things we did during COVID was we retired 777s and a bunch of the less fuel efficient aircraft, and we're really excited about having the money, number one, but also the foresight we've got the new A321neos with the new Delta first class seat. That's in production now, being rolled out. And we just announced last week another order with Boeing for 100 737 MAX that will start rolling out in a couple of years. So just being prepared when they come back to make sure that they can rely on what they remember in 19, which is the customer experience and the on-time reliability mixed in with a tremendous upgrade in products and things that they can take advantage of while they're traveling.
Wow, that's a lot. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Well, your CEO, Ed Bastian, has been talking a lot about some ambitious goals as it relates to the Delta brand.
Yep.
So can you give us some insight into what the Delta brand promises and what we can expect to see?
It's something that we talk about it a lot. And it's not corny, it's not contrived, or it's something that for the 39 years now, believe it or not, that I've been with Delta, that from my day one, it's been that consistent focus on the brand, focus on your people, focus on the customers. You can replicate everything, wines, foods, seats, airports. You cannot replicate DNA and culture. Yep. So our brand promise has to deliver on that. And frankly, our brand promise had to completely change during COVID. We have what we call the rules of the road that were written 95 years ago by our founder, C.E. Woolman. Ed pulled that out. We updated it. But we are talking about some new things. We are focusing on 3 words coming out of this: welcoming, elevating, and caring. welcoming being, we're going to be an airline that welcomes you on board, and no one deserves to travel more than anybody else. So there's a lot in that comment and that statement. Caring, obviously, elevating, just meaning we're going to elevate the experience, so it's going to be better than you've ever had before. And it's going to be a customer experience that when you're done, you'll want to come back and do it again. And then certainly caring, being thoughtful as an airline, being thoughtful about your customers, your employees, the planet, you name it. We just announced something that will be a big part of our brand. We announced it last week, not uncoincidentally. Before GBTA, but we announced our new product, our portal called Delta Business. And this is, for as long as I can remember, we've done a really good job listening to our customers and creating tools and vehicles for them to manage their business with Delta. And there was a lot of them, a lot of very productive ones. But we got a lot of feedback during COVID that while you're looking at reinventing yourself, there's a lot of them. Try to build a tool that brings them all into one, that simplifies the experience, and from our perspective, put everything under one name, so we know exactly where to go, and that's what Delta Business will be. And we announced it last week. The branding's all over GBTA. We're excited about it. It's more for the commercial, for the corporate travel managers and travel management companies. And there's a lot of the things that we're doing today that we think are industry leading, but we're also going to have some new things like digital Sky Club passes, which is the first time we've ever done that, and put on demand, the ability to upgrade someone's medallion status without having to call us or go through a channel. So a lot of cool things that have been there, new things, sustainability dashboard now. I know everybody's talking about sustainability.
Yep, hot topic.
We now have a dashboard that employees and corporate travel managers can see what their footprint is with Delta as it relates to carbon emissions, SAF, and you name it. So a lot of good stuff.
Wow.
But all
under
under the Delta brand.
Background, but obviously good for the customer, right?
Yeah,
Making
100%.
it seamless and easy to do business
Yep.
with, and having a good traveler experience.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So as the pandemic gets smaller in the rear view mirror,
Thank the Lord.
what do you hope to look back on at the end of 2022 and have accomplished?
Yeah, it's a great question, and we're all asking that. I will tell you, the two things that worried me going into 2022 was this industry was being reinvented, particularly Delta. I'll speak for Delta. We lost about 30% of our sellers to early out programs. That's a lot of intellectual knowledge, relationships, history. And when you look at that, and the daunting truth of we're starting with a lot of new folks. And oh, by the way, those folks have been with us 10 years or less. And for the last 10 years, arguably we've seen the best 10 years in Delta's history, and never been through adversity. And here we are going through arguably the most adversity we've ever been through in our careers. How are they going to react to that? How are they going to help us reinvent that? How as a company are we going to react to this with no playbook and no anything? I'm most proud of 22 because we really started coming out of it and really writing our playbook on what we're going to be coming through. We did a lot of things. A lot of these folks really 10,000 hours of training, really learning how to, some of them new to the company, some new to sales. I was very proud of our company. We made a lot of decisions in 2022 that were questioned. I think a middle seat block being the one we were the first to block them and the last to unblock them. Right. And a lot of people in this industry said it was a bad move. And I would say in retrospect, they and I would agree, not such a bad move when you had record corporate share and record NPS scores because of it. So our customers told us what we needed to focus on. We did, we delivered, listen, act, listen. And now we're focused on what's the next thing we're going to do over and above our promise of being there, having your back 24/7, either the seller or the global sales support center, which is what we always have delivered. But we made some tough decisions and went through together. We got a lot of work to do. We still are a work in progress, but I was very proud as we come to the end of 22 and face what we hope is travel back to where it came from, preparing ourselves to be ready for that, no matter what that means, and making sure that we restore Delta as one of the preeminent carriers as far as delivering customer experience globally, anywhere in the world.
Well, it sounds like you're well on your way and doing just that. Congratulations, Bob.
Thanks, Monisa. Great to see you.
So much good things
Thanks.
For the travel industry. So always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks. Likewise.
I'm Monisa Cline here at the GBTA Broadcast Studio.